Hey everyone, hey Wellness Crew, and welcome to today's reading of the Gene Keys Golden Path, Love, a Guide to Your Venus Sequence. All right, 11, the Pathway of Realization. Returning to the one point. The transition from the sphere of the SQ, which again, the SQ is your spiritual quotient, to the core is no transition in time. At this stage in our journey, the sequence itself is shown to be a limited way of viewing this transmission. Once you enter into the mystical state of absorption, you are no longer in the hands of your ego or your sense of I. There is a place within us where the forces of evolution meet the forces of involution. We call this place the one point. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate that. In the holographic universe, this point is located behind the navel. This place is a wormhole leading right into the heart of the universal consciousness. Words too begin to dissolve as they are drawn into this whirlpool of silence. The pathway of realization is like a lighthouse within us. From the moment we are born, it sends out its precious rays of remembrance. It waits for us to respond to its call, and only when we are ready does the process of absorption begin. At a certain point in our evolution, we simply let go of all the structures that have pretended to hold up our life. We yield ourselves up to the mystery within, and we let it take a hold of us. Before we were born, when we lay submerged within the womb, we lived through 9 months of hologenesis. That is, we moved through the process of absorption in reverse. Emerging out of the void, we became progressively enrobed in the sheaths of matter as our tiny organs developed. In the womb, it has been suggested that the various stages of fetal development mirror key archetypal phases in the evolutionary history of our Earth, of life on Earth. We move through such hologenetic phases from the moment we are conceived until the moment we are born. All phases form around the one point, the umbilical nexus, that provides the nourishment necessary for life to continue evolving. The one point. The one point exists at a quantum level beyond the physical, observable plane, and it serves as a template for life to come into manifestation. It is the white hole through which light passes from the formless dimension to the plane of matter. It is where non-being becomes being. It is an intriguing mystery that in order for our human evolution to attain its zenith, our consciousness must return down the same pathway, passing through the black hole of the one point back into the realm of the formless. This is the true meaning of the pathway of realization. It is also why words and language are no longer capable of capturing the essence of this experience. The experience itself is beyond words. Temptation and distraction, the ring of trials. Throughout the Gene Keys and the Golden Path, we have heard about the mystery of the 21 codon rings, specific groupings of gene keys chemically bonded together in genetic resonance. The breadth of the wisdom contained in the codon rings remains outside the scope of this book, but we can still glean a great deal of wisdom from them. One codon ring in particular has a strong relevance to this pathway of realization. This is the Ring of Trials, which consists of the three so-called stop codons: the 33rd gene key, the 56th gene key, and the 12th gene key. The stop codons represent codes in our DNA that terminate processes of genetic replication, creating pauses or breaks in the process of protein building. As archetypes, the three stop codons of the Ring of Trials represent a crux point in the evolution of human awareness. As we approach the pathway of realization, we undergo a process of deep inner testing. Once we have opened up our SQ, which again, that's our spiritual quotient, to its true potential, the currents of the higher frequencies begin to course through our being. We feel a new kind of power opening up inside us. The light of our genius opens up vistas of potential that we may have never dreamed of. There is a delightful urge at this stage of our inner journey to try and hold on to the higher frequencies and to follow their potential out into the world. The release of this great love inside us naturally urges us to want to be of service to the world and to others. It is possible to linger at this wonderful stage for the rest of our lives, and we become a powerful force for good and change in the outer world. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate that. At least it may appear that way. The Ring of Trials sets us three mythical inner trials before we can continue to the very pinnacle of consciousness. The first trial, the 33rd gene key, remembering mindfulness. At its lower frequencies, the 33rd gene key is the shadow of forgetting. This is our first inner challenge. This gene key pursues us throughout our evolutionary journey. It opens in us as the gift of mindfulness, the knack we develop of allowing awareness to continually witness our own life. At the higher frequencies, our self-awareness is usually in an advanced stage of development. Awareness catalyzes transformation, which is how we evolve in the first place. However, our awareness is tested at its deepest level once we begin to unlock the codes of our higher evolution. It becomes all too easy to forget our inner journey and follow our love out into the world. There is a noble tendency at this stage to want to save the world in some way. With mindfulness, all impulses are eventually shown for what they truly are. The impulse to serve others, while noble, can also be a distraction from continuing our inner journey to its true conclusion. This doesn't mean that the impulse to serve is wrong. It may be correct for us, but this is a classic stage in our evolution. Until our awareness has reached the sphere of the core, our true higher purpose cannot be revealed. The 33rd gene key tests, hones, and sharpens our mindfulness to its greatest extent. Each of the three stop codons of the Ring of Trials holds the potential to pause or halt our inner journey. The second trial, The 56th gene key, the distraction of the personal. Although we number the 3 trials of the Ring of Trials in a sequence, they are all themes that are interwoven with each other. The second test of our deep self-awareness comes via the 56th gene key, whose lower frequency is represented by the shadow of distraction, which I am sure we have all experienced. The final great transformation that occurs within us as we travel the pathway of realization is the shift from the personal to the impersonal. The love released through the burgeoning SQ connects us to life and to others in ways that are genuinely wholesome and uplifting. As we experience the effects of this state of absorption, our bodies can also experience frequent rushes of ecstasy and deep, unconditional love. Once again, we are tested by the urge to linger in the state of passion and beauty. Our heart sways in a poetic dance through the poles of pleasure and pain as we come into greater acceptance of the beauty and sweetness of the sacred wound at the heart of all things. The 56th gene key can distract us with the riches of such an expansive state. And at a subtle level, we can allow ourselves to rest in this stage. In the Eastern traditions, this stage of evolution is known as the realm of the gods. We soar and dip and dive in the romance of our lives, and we can develop a powerful connection to those around us, to those who naturally come to sip and taste the higher states that we are experiencing. Many people can be distracted at this stage by the urge to teach others and share their inner state. We remain subtly attached to the world through our relationships and through the personal love that moves from our essence toward others. The 56th gift of enrichment teaches us to draw the nutrients from each and every stage of our evolutionary journey. This is not about denial. We can enjoy every step along the path, and we are forgiven for wishing to linger in this beautiful space of expanding consciousness. However, we are still called to move deeper in awareness into the source of the bliss, into the core of the sacred wound itself. The 56th siddhi of intoxication teaches us to move beyond the ecstatic planes into the even deeper places of silence that lie within. The third trial, the 12th gene key, the vanity of the self. The third and final trial we undergo as we pass through the portal of realization is the surrender of our separate identity. It is a symbolic surrender of our voice. As we enter through the many layers of the self, we begin to touch the essence inside us. Our awareness becomes ever more focused upon the one point. This process is akin to a nuclear explosion. We keep focusing the lens of our awareness into this single hidden inner point within us. And as we do so, the energy of our being seems to grow in power and radiance. This gives us a sense of awesome power and one-pointedness. In time, we become a blend of focused compassion and limitless power. Once again, there is a deep temptation to linger at this point, feeling the wonder of the silence and the power of light coursing through us. This is the stage that the ancient traditions often named the lure of the siddhis. We feel our potential as a messiah, and many gifts of the higher frequencies can be accessed at this stage. The shadow of vanity is our greatest test. It will challenge the purity of our heart as we are called upon to let go even of this penultimate phase of our journey. For only then does the final nuclear explosion occur. We enter the mystical ring of secrets, the mysterious 22nd codon ring. The 12th gene key is the only gene key which exists as a ring within a ring. This is the final letting go, and the 12th gene key and its siddhi of purity offers us the greatest guidance of all. Thank you so much, Caleb. You're very kind. I just took a little bit of a break this month. I was very busy. That no matter what happens, keep listening to the purity of your heart. The sealing of the five senses. The pathway of realization is the archetypal return of our journey from birth to conception. The physiological architecture of our awareness is precisely laid down during the 3 trimesters of pregnancy. This pathway, therefore, involves a rewiring of the foundations of our awareness. We have seen from the trials above that we are called upon to let go of all of the frameworks that we have become accustomed to over the course of our lives. Our attachment to pleasure, power, and identity. In the ancient traditions of the Tibetan and Taoist teachings, one of the highest formula for attaining realization or enlightenment involves a process known as the sealing of the five senses. This phase in our spiritual development is a kind of grubbing out of the very roots of our false awareness through a purification of the way in which the brain uses the five senses. In the ancient esoteric traditions, the five senses were often referred to as the five thieves on account of their tendency to keep drawing our awareness back out into the world and away from our core. As we approach realization, we undergo an organic process in which our awareness seals up these five doorways, thus preventing us from trying to escape reality through our attachments to the outer world. As we uproot these attachments, so each sense is purified of its conditioned functioning and is returned to its pure form. It is rather like rebooting your computer and resetting it to its factory settings. I think that's a really funny analogy. Sight and light, unnaming the world. The final and possibly most sophisticated sense to develop in the womb is the sense of sight. This is therefore the first perceptual attachment that undergoes transformation. In our 3rd trimester, we develop the ability to sense light through the lens of the eye. It is through our sense of sight that we learn to name the things and people around us. As our awareness digs into our visual world, so we begin to let go of language. We come into increasingly deep spaces and pauses in which language and thinking cease. We may even look at the world from time to time without knowing what we are seeing. Our visual cortex is also linked deeply to our memory. When we see an object or person, they arise in our brain alongside a web of interconnected memories and ideas. Through the eye of realization, these memories remain intact, but are viewed as surface parameters rather than defining the object we are looking at. This enables us to see directly into the essence of a thing. This is a part of the cleansing of our awareness as we learn to see the world as it is, rather than seeing the world through the construct woven from our mental worldview. Sound and harmony, reinterpreting frequency. Our sense of hearing is developed enough by the end of the second trimester for us to take in and process auditory information. The most potent sound we are aware of is our mother's voice, but we also respond to many other sounds. In the third trimester, we begin to recognize the patterns and intonations of language, and we become aware of the connection between tone and emotion. All the five senses are intimately linked into the development of our brain and central nervous system. Our brain therefore learns to distinguish and categorize sounds as patterns connected to our emotions. As our awareness travels further back into our past, we discover an inner space where all sound is simply taken in without any interpretation. Some have referred to this as the harmony of the spheres. It is a higher attunement to the layers of frequency that surround us, and as we enter into resonance with this higher harmony, we become deeply centered in the one point, that holographic inner ear inside us that receives life as wave upon wave of being. Smell and others, depersonalizing life. Our sense of smell also comes online during the second trimester. The first aroma we take in is that of our mother, and for much of our lives we will unconsciously seek this early sense of comfort and familiarity. The whole history of our sense of smell is therefore about our relationships. We often overlook the impact that our sense of smell has on us. The world of smell is far subtler than we realize. We smell each other at the deepest level through pheromones, delicate aromas and hormones emitted by the body that we take in at an unconscious level. Our sense of smell guides our intuition. As our awareness moves into this unconscious world, we get to see the subtle attachments we follow as we are drawn to certain people, foods, places, and cultures throughout our lives. Letting go of these attachments is a process of depersonalization, as we realize that we no longer need the security of the familiar, which carries a faint echo of the comforting smell of our mother. Taste and style. Seeing beyond differences. As we travel through the various developmental stages of the fetus in the womb, we will see how the architecture of our senses are interwoven like building blocks. Our sense of taste, for example, is strongly linked to our sense of smell. But the physical senses also lead to a whole web of patterns and habits that follow us into our lives. Our sense of taste develops in the second trimester as we absorb subtle sensations through the amniotic fluid. Through this, we develop predispositions towards certain food types and flavors. But taste is about more than just which food we are drawn to. It underpins our sense of taste in the wider sense of the word. The smells, sounds, and images we are drawn to. And real quick, what I will say is, as a mom myself, I have found that during my pregnancies, my children definitely shaped the things that I was craving and the things that I wanted to eat, and definitely overwrote what I liked and what I enjoyed even after pregnancy. So while yes, maybe being a mom and having a major effect on my children, yes, that is true. I believe that our children also have a major effect on the mother as well, and can definitely change a lot in the mother as well. It is the foundation of our unique style in the world. As our awareness reaches back into this phase of our early development, we see how certain genetic predispositions draw us towards certain people, places, and things. At this level, we see through the programming that makes us appear different. This will not necessarily change our own habits and style, but it allows us to see the ordering principle that makes us feel like an individual. Touch and identity, being without movement. The first sense to develop in the womb, and therefore the final sense to transcend, is our sense of touch. Our ability to sense touch develops as early as the end of the first trimester. We might restate Descartes' famous axiom, as I touch, therefore I am, because it is this earliest sense that allows us to differentiate our perceived sense of separateness in the world. Touch gives us an identity, and touch is linked to movement. Without movement, we can lose our sense of touch and therefore our sense of identity. This is why those who have attained realization have always done so through physical stillness or meditation. At a certain stage of our spiritual evolution, the state of absorption becomes so all-embracing that we no longer have an urge to move, but spontaneously enter into prolonged states of physical stillness. It is in this stillness that our awareness finally ceases to be our awareness, but is shown to be the connective tissue of consciousness itself. We rest in a state of pure being, beyond identity and meaning. So that is the five senses. We're getting close towards the end of the book, so that's awesome. We're getting close towards the end of the Gene Keys Golden Path Love, A Guide to Your Venus Sequence by Richard Rudd. If you don't have your own copy, that is exactly why I do these live streams. You can always go back, watch, and order if this is something that interests you. I have found the Gene Keys to be incredibly helpful in my self-development journey and on my spiritual journey as well. So thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join one of the membership tiers, as they were popping off with content before this month. I kind of took some time off, had some things going on, but I will be coming back with content a little later this month, or I will double up next month. So we will see. But again, thank you. Be well and stay wild as well. See you next time.